Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Let's get into Love is Blind, Season 6, Episode 6, Feeling Uncomfy. So it's day 2 in the DR, and we are waking up with Johnny and Amy. And Amy is glowing. I mean, she says that the physicality of it all is an 11 out of 10. Okay, Johnny, we gonna give you your props on this one. So really at this moment, we're just waking up with all of the couples, and all of the couples, they all seem to have had a good night together. All of the couples were saying that, there was some cuddle time and some snuggling. So they're just moving into the various activities of the day. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but Kenneth and Brittany just finished with some massages, and Brittany seems like she is really into Kenneth, like she's really looking at him. But for some reason, Kenneth, to me, seems to be looking past her. He's talking to her, but he's looking past her. He's looking over her head. I don't know if I'm seeing like some kind of disconnect on his end. So Laura and Jeremy are having somewhat of a picnic out near the water, and they're just talking about, what has transpired over the last day or so as they've been in the DR. And Laura was saying to Jeremy, I think she's still giving him a hard time about his Hawaiian shirt. And because he doesn't have on a Hawaiian shirt today, and she's saying, you look really nice. And he's saying, I'm keeping my shirts. And then she asked him, okay, is there anything that you don't like about me? And he says, no, 10 out of 10. So now Clay and AD are at a beachside bar, and they're just having a couple of drinks. And, AD is saying, I don't do pointless calories. She doesn't like to have a lot of sugary drinks. Clay begins to talk about the fact that, he's never counted calories. He's not a calorie counter. And AD said, well, yeah, and you're a man, you really don't have to. So Clay says to AD, AD, you have a great body. You don't have to worry about calories. And AD is like, I do, because, I work hard. I work hard for the body that I have. So Clay says to AD, I wouldn't even let you get out of shape. And AD says, well, what happens if I do get out of shape? And he goes to tell her, I would tell you to get in the gym, just like that. Get in the gym. And he would not be nice about it. Now, Clay, this is the second time now. Flag on the play. Slow down. Be careful how you talk to AD like that now. Slow down. Clay then gets 10 toes down and says, if you got out of shape, I would tell you, you need to get in the gym. So physicality, he's bringing it up again, is very important to him. Ladies, let me know if you've ever had a partner, a significant other, that gave you an ultimatum, kinda, in the sense that if you gained weight, they would leave. What are your thoughts on that? They are continuing the whole gym conversation. And, Clay is saying, that he likes the fact that AD does challenge him, because she's telling him, you need to be nice. You need to work on your delivery, which he does. And Clay is saying, in the pods, you challenge me, so I'm going to make sure that I work on my delivery. He goes on to say, because, I'm messed up. All right, AD, he's telling you once again, he's talking about his big ego. Let's pay attention. Let's pay attention. And instead, AD finds this attractive on him. Girl, I don't even know what to say to you right now. Clay and AD have now started talking about therapy, and the fact that AD, she started therapy. She's been in therapy for about a year or so, just trying to heal from some past traumas. And she's also at the same time encouraging Clay to get into therapy to help with his ego and how he handles and processes things. And AD goes on to say, one of the reasons why she did do therapy is because she feels like she does not deserve love. And Clay in this moment is just encouraging her, letting her know, yes, you do deserve love. And sis, you do. You do deserve love. So AD is was talking about the fact of her father and how her father, who is no longer with us, she was just always visualizing herself walking down the aisle by herself, and so she's kind of talking this over with Clay, and Clay was being very comforting to her. He knows that she does have brothers that, so he goes on to say, you have brothers that love you, that can walk you down. I thought that was really a sweet moment between the two of them. Now, one minute Clay will say something crazy, but then he always know how to bring it back around. I'm gonna give that to him. So Jimmy and Chelsea are now taking a walk along the beach, and she just begins to say in the confessional that she feels a little self-conscious about Jimmy seeing her for the first time in a swimming suit. She feels like she knows that he does like her for who she is, but what if he doesn't like her body? And she's saying that Jimmy is a 10 out of 10. And I'm just thinking, man, first of all, she's very beautiful. And I think a lot of women, I won't say all, but I think a lot of women have certain insecurities and the such. But, she's saying that basically Jimmy is perfect. Jimmy who? What Jimmy are we talking about? So now Jimmy and Chelsea, they're just laying by the beach. And I think right now I am exhausted with Jimmy and Chelsea. The only thing that they really talk about is looks. And I think part of that is some insecurity on Chelsea's part, and the fact that she needs validation, she needs words of affirmation, and the fact that, Jimmy is also talking about it as well. And once again, Chelsea is asking Jimmy if he feels 100%. I feel like she's asked him ever since they've been face to face, she's asked the question multiple times. And I think that at this point, either you have to just know or don't worry about it. What do you guys think? How would you feel if your partner was constantly ask you if you were 100% into the relationship? What do you think? So Chelsea does admit that, she's been in relationships in the past where she was cheated on and she was not validated. She was not told a lot that they loved her or that she was pretty. So now we're starting to see where her insecurities are stemming from. And but I think that that's something that she is going to have to work on. I mean, you cannot rely on getting your partner to constantly every day say, I'm 1,000%. Like she asked him again, are you 1,000% sure? You got to know that you know that you know. And if you don't know, if there is any confusion at all, then run. So now all of the couples are going to get together on the beach and have a little dinner, just a meetup. And now the girls go over to one side and they're going to have a little chit chat, a little powwow about, what's been happening so far. But Brittany doesn't have a chair. So they're looking around for a chair, and over walks Kenneth and says to her, do you need a chair? And he's just coming to take care of his wife, make sure his wife is good. Okay, Kenneth, you definitely get points for this. And so as the ladies are chatting, now they're talking about intimacy, trying to find out, has anybody, been intimate yet with their partner? And everyone that's sitting there says no. Now, mind you, Amy, from Amy and Johnny, she's walked off from the chat. So, but everyone else is saying no, but there was some heavy petting and whatnot going on. Now, here's the thing. They are talking about size. Does size matter? Does size matter? So, all of them are saying that all of the husbands are good in that area. Now, just let's be real. If their husband wasn't good in that area, now this is their husband or their fiance, do you think they would be honest about that? I don't think I would be honest at this point. Like if it wasn't, because that might be my future husband, So I don't know. I don't know if everybody's being honest. And on the other side, the men are also talking about intimacy. And Jeremy is saying, yeah, I kind of wanted to be intimate, but at the same time, I literally just met this person. So he was trying to decide, is it weird? Like we literally just met yesterday. Is it weird for us to go ahead and do that, even if he wants to? And it's funny because Jimmy actually is alluding to the fact that something may have happened with him and Chelsea was very clear that nothing happened. So I don't know. Now it's interesting because both Johnny and Amy walked off from Amy walked off from the girls. Johnny walked off from the guys when they were having this conversation, and they're over at the bar talking to each other. And, Johnny whispers to Amy, you're the best one. Now that is so sweet. And of course she's like, oh, stop it. So now all the couples are back together. They're just talking to each other. And of course, we have Jimmy and Chelsea now. And Jimmy is flat out asking Chelsea, what did you say? And she was like, it was all good. Everything was good. Okay. Yeah, something is definitely off right there. But she goes and she says, I love you. And he doesn't say it back. And she brings it up. She was like, you didn't say it. And he said, well, I love you. Do you want me to shout it? And she said, yes. But did he shout it? No. And as they are talking, Jimmy proceeds to say, quote, that girl is stacked. And Chelsea's like, trying to figure out who he's talking about. Jimmy is talking about AD. First of all, Jimmy, I don't know what level of flags we are on with you. This is why I am exhausted. I really just get off. Wrap it up already. Just wrap it up. Because why would you say that another woman to your fiance, that another woman is that? Keep it in the back of your head. Don't do that. And so Chelsea actually yells from across the way to AD, Jimmy said that you're stacked. How did you get your butt like that? And it's just a whole back and forth conversation about it. Chelsea is trying to act like she's unbothered. She says that she's not bothered. But then Jimmy walks over to AD, gives her a hug. He's holding her hand. Where's Clay? Clay, if it's any time that you need to come and say something, now would be the time. And now the conversation is still going on between Jimmy and AD. Chelsea over there with her face on the floor. I still don't know where Clay is at, and I'm very surprised that he is letting somebody else talk to his woman for this long. Jimmy and AD are continuing the conversation, and at this point, it's borderline flirtatious off of Jimmy. I think that AD is just kind of entertaining him at this point. But Chelsea over there, once again, saying that she's about to throw up. Well, ma'am, you kind of did this. So now Amy and Chelsea have gone off to the side and they're talking about what just transpired between Jimmy and AD. Meanwhile, Jimmy and AD are still talking to each other. Who knows where Clay is? And Chelsea begins to say, when she made the comment to AD about, AD, how do you get your butt like that? She was trying to make an uncomfortable situation comfortable, but that totally backfired on her. Totally. Now, Jimmy finally is done talking to AD and he is stumbling his way over to Laura and Amy and Chelsea. And, he's asking them, first of all, he says to Laura, you were my first date. And now he's asking them, aside from Chelsea, how hard was it in this process to narrow it down? And they said, it wasn't hard at all. And Jimmy says, oh, well, that's bad. That sucks because I didn't make any of y'all's list. Once again, Jimmy, Chelsea, girl, I'm sorry, girl. You picked you something. You really did pick you something. That's the best I got. So now AD, Clay are talking and Kenneth walks over and says, it's giving black love. It's giving black excellence. Yeah, yeah, yes, it is. We gonna agree for now. We gonna always remember in the back of our head about Clay, but right now it's giving black love. So Clay actually allows Kenneth and AD to have a conversation. He walks off, and so AD is asking Kenneth, how's it going with Brittany? And he's like, everything is good. And she asked him, do you normally date outside of the race? And he says, no, she's the first one. But he's very pleased so far, and he doesn't have any complaints. And so Kenneth is also asking AD what she thinks, and she says, I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. So she, you can tell that Clay and AD are really into each other at this particular moment. And so, Kenneth and AD are now talking about the interracial aspect of Kenneth and Brittany's upcoming wedding, if they do, make it to the altar, and just things. AD is just giving him things to, think about when you get back, when we get back to real life, if you guys have children together, she's going to have to raise black children. She's asking Kenneth if he feels like she can handle raising black children. Is she confident enough in doing so? Kenneth really doesn't come straight out and say, yes, he feels confident that she could. What he says is, Kenneth says, I am pro-black. And he knows that he's going to have to make a really big decision around all of this, especially since he feels like the people back home has never seen him in an interracial relationship. And so this being the first one and you're getting married, he might have a tough conversation that he has to have. Now, I noticed at the end of Kenneth and AD's conversation, he says, I have a lot of love for her, which to me is very different than telling someone that you love them. What do you guys think? Do y'all think it's the same thing when somebody says, I have love for you versus I love you? When someone says, I have love for you, that is not the same as I love you. So now we are over with Clay, Jeremy, and Jimmy. They're having a conversation. They're sitting down together. And Jimmy is kind of looking off. I definitely feel like he's a little bit tipsy. Probably everybody is, because they are having a good time with the drinks are flowing. And he's kind of looking past both Jeremy and Clay. But we see AD walking up. So I feel like he's just watching AD walk up. And so AD kind of joins the conversation. And Jeremy says that Laura had told him something about bean dip. Now, I don't have a clue what bean dip is. So AD begins to laugh, and she looks over to Laura, who is kind of sitting behind them, and says, Laura, you told Jeremy bean dip. And so now, both Amy and Laura walk over to the group, and they're talking about bean dip. And basically what that is Laura had told Jeremy to bean dip AD, and that is hit her boob twice. And first of all, I don't know what woman would tell her man to do that to another woman. Like, I don't know. That was all a little bit odd, but they were all kind of laughing about it. And of course, Clay was like, no, don't do that. Not at all, Jeremy. But I will say, I'm getting the feeling that not only Jimmy is googly eyes over AD, but Jeremy is too, and probably Kenneth. The only one that really is not paying AD no attention is Johnny, and Johnny is into his woman, Amy. He's the only one that's not really paying no attention, as you should, Johnny. Very good. These other men need to take note. So now the ladies walk off, so AD, Laura, and Amy, they've walked off from the guys after the whole bean dip conversation. And Laura is saying, it was a joke. Of course, I would not tell another man to do that. And, AD is like, Clay, he really didn't appreciate that. And so Laura is saying, basically Clay needs to relax. And AD is like, hold up now. Actually, Clay does not need to relax. Um, he should feel a type of way. And Laura is just saying it was a joke. Jeremy should not have said anything. It was a joke in poor taste, though. I mean, because again, but see, this is what happened when you're out with a group and the drinks are flowing. Who knows who's going to say what and who's going to act how? You have to be careful. And plus, y'all really don't know each other that well. I mean, it's been what, 2 weeks? Y'all talked in the pods for 2 weeks, and now you meet each other for 2 days. And a joke between Laura and Jeremy has now gotten completely out of hand. And Laura is saying, first of all, I did not tell him to do that for real. We were just kind of talking about it. Laura is really she's kind of blaming Jeremy because she's saying that he shouldn't have said it, and he shouldn't have. But and she already thinks that Jeremy is childish, and this just gives her another straw in the hat on him. So now Laura is kind of talking to Jeremy. They're still out with the group and everything, but Laura is telling Jeremy, you should not have said that. And he's saying, well, it was a joke that got out of control. And she says, we're going to have a talk later. And he's like, I know. I already know. So now Jimmy and Chelsea, they're back in their room. And, Jimmy, he's acting like everything is fine because to him, everything is fine. But Chelsea is saying, oh, what's wrong? Seems like something wrong. He's like, oh, nothing. I'm good. But really the issue is with her. So she's starting to discuss what happened with the whole situation, about the comment he made about AD's body and how much time he spent talking to her and how she was uncomfortable. And he's looking a little bit confused because he is. He did not realize anything he was doing was bothering you, Chelsea. And probably because of the simple fact that you were the one who brought it up in front of everybody. That he said something about, how did you get your butt like that? So you really, Chelsea, once again, this is all on you. You feeling uncomfortable is 100% on you. Now, Jimmy, you not off the hook, buddy, because, yeah, you was a little bit too much on AD. But, Chelsea, you started it, girl. So now Chelsea, she walks over to the bed, and Jimmy, he comes over to her, and she's just saying, every other couple really looked like they were into each other. I felt like we were disconnected. You were not being lovey on me. Chelsea, girl, part of it is your fault. That whole situation is your fault. And Jimmy is trying to express to her that, he told everybody he talked to how much he was into Chelsea, which the cameras did show us. Everyone he talked to, he did say how much he was into Chelsea. Jimmy, we don't believe you. It's not sincere. I personally don't believe you. I think that you're lying. Right now, I really don't think that you're into Chelsea, and maybe she can feel it. Maybe that's her intuition kicking in, and that's why she's constantly asking. Once again, I believe, Chelsea, girl, you picked wrong. You should have picked Trevor. You should have listened to me. I tried to tell you. So Jimmy says, we were with our friends, I'm sorry you felt that way. And she says, thank you for acknowledging me. Chelsea, I hate to break it to you, but when somebody tell you that they sorry you feel that way, that's not an apology. Now, Chelsea, I'm gonna tell you that you, with Jimmy, you better put your big girl panties on, because if you feel this way with him seeing AD, and yeah, he was out of pocket. Jimmy, you were out of pocket, and I'm not letting you off the hook. But Chelsea, when Jimmy sees Jessica for the first time, girl, you better have an EpiPen too. Not only does Jimmy need an EpiPen, but you will too, because both of y'all are gonna cry. You crying now for over AD, you gonna cry. You gonna choke, just like Jessica said. Hey y'all, that's the end of the episode. Listen, tell me what you think in the comments below, and we will see y'all next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.